Are you ready to increase your retention and revenue and convert website traffic to clients? Then you're ready for Maya. Maya is a marketing and client recruitment software. Maya creates better business relationships by pairing the right clients with the right beauty professionals. How do we do it? A matchmaker. Your brand will have its own unique matchmaking survey. By pairing people based on their skill set, budget, personality, and lifestyle preferences, Maya creates lasting relationships that keep both sides coming back for more. You don't get a second chance to make a first impression. Pair the right clients with the right beauty pros the first time. Visit joinmaya.com to get started.
Thank you for joining me. This is Katie Whitledge with the Beyond the Technique podcast. Today we're talking about create a recruiting experience. I know that experience word is such a trigger for us, and it should be no different for recruiting. We have the one and only John DiJulius back again. You all might remember him from a long, long time ago. He came on episode 298 talking about the 10 commandments of customer service. Well, John is back again. And let me just remind you who he is. He's the Chief Revolution Officer and President of the DeJulius Group and has helped organizations build world-class customer and employee experiences. If you wait till the end, you're going to hear about a special opportunity to learn more about the customer and employee side of this outside of recruiting today. So stay throughout the entire show. He is a best-selling author of 6 books and the founder and chief and has worked with the Ritz-Carlton, Lexus, Starbucks, KeyBank, Nestle, Chick-fil-A, Celebrity Cruise Lines, Bristol Myers, Marriott. The list goes on and on. He is a world-class speaker. It is such a pleasure to have him here. Thank you so much. Without further ado, help me welcome John DiJulius. Welcome back to Beyond the Technique.
Thanks, Katie. It's great to be back. And I don't know if it was mentioned, but I started off in the salon industry and still own a chain of upscale salons and spas in Cleveland. You didn't know that?
No, okay, we need to go. Let's go back to that because no, this is like dropping a bomb.
You
Okay, so
had to
I
know
had no
that,
idea
Katie.
that this is
When
where
we
you
spoke
started.
10 or 15 years ago. Yeah, 32 years ago. Me and my wife opened a little salon and it blew up. And, we have a chain of upscale salons and spas in Cleveland that I still own today.
Which is kind of an oxymoron to say the word chain and upscale. So, I mean, this is really a testament to the foundations you've put in place with your customer experience, with your employee experience. I think
The
that's,
book, the book, the book,
yeah.
the writing, the consulting, the Julius Group was all came off of that. I didn't even, wasn't a plan. But in the early and mid 90s, because the salons were growing so fast and because we had a good reputation for customer experience, people just started asking me to speak and you never thought it would morph. And then just started speaking. And then every time I spoke, 2 or 3 people would hire me to come and speak to at their company. And then in 2003, my first book came out, Secret Service, and that took me out of the beauty industry. And this is what I do with 99.9% of my time. Still own the salons. They're my laboratory to make sure I know what I'm talking about.
You know what's so amazing about that is I had a personal trainer friend share, I got this book. Everybody should read it. It's called Secret Service.
Mm,
And
that's a
who knew, like, full
yeah.
circle. That is
Wow.
really, really cool, John.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so you have a little street cred when it comes to these topics, specifically for the beauty industry. And if you have multi-location, then I would say you know a thing or two about recruiting and building up those teams. We hear the word experience and we automatically think of the way we're going to treat our customers. Tell me where is this topic coming from about recruiting experience? How did this come about?
Well, experience, it should be an ecosystem of how you treat, your team members, how you treat your vendors, the UPS man that walks in the door, the stranger, in an elevator, and you compliment her shoes because she has really nice shoes on, right? And potential employees, everything needs to be experienced. And really, why a recruiting experience is, as you and all your listeners can attest, 5, 10, 15, 100 years ago, maybe someone heard that, you were hiring, I was hiring, one of the companies listening was hiring. Prior to the pandemic, someone would go apply and hope they get the job. Well, that's not how it is today. Today, everyone knows it's still an employee market, right? Where and so they are interviewing at 5 different companies looking for the best deal. And the best deal is, subject to what they're viewing. The best deal is they want, a little bit more money, higher commission, flexibility, not, with scheduling in certain industries, work from home, flexibility, whatever that may look like. So we want to create a recruitment experience that if young Katie's coming in to apply, we know she's going, maybe she just came from another interview and she's going to another interview after this interview. Okay. And there's 3 things we want to objectives of our recruiting, of our interview process. One, scare the wrong fit away and make sure that young Katie knows what we're looking for and not just say, oh, Katie, it's the greatest place in the world. We all, hug each other and go home and sing Kumbaya. That's not it. And we'll say, honestly, we're not for everyone. And here's why. So first, make sure Katie, and we figure out if you're a right fit. Second objective is find out who the potential rock stars are. And then the third one is make sure that Rockstar doesn't even want to go on the next interview. That they came in thinking, all right, let's see how this compares to the other 4 companies. And by the time they're leaving their first interview, they're nervous they're not going to get the job. Right. And because we want, if you do go on the next interview, or if you came from another interview, it's a pale in comparison between how we treat you. We might have a reserve a parking spot for you out front for the potential candidate. When you walk in and say, hi, I'm here to see Susan, right? The HR person, the manager, whatever Susan is. The person at the front desk says, oh, you must be Katie. Welcome, Katie. And she knows you. She knows you're coming in and everyone's there to greet you. And maybe there's a picture on the monitor that says, welcome, Katie, and that. And then there's a whole interview process that we can get into. But that's the initial piece of why we have to create an experience, because I want 100% of the rock stars. I don't want 100% of the people we're interviewing, but I want 100% of the rock stars. And shame on us if we're not the most attractive thing to them.
Yeah, well, there's so much that's going through my mind right now. Number one, the first thing that came to my mind is a reason clients won't come back isn't because you've messed up. It's typically because they believe you probably wouldn't notice anyway.
Right.
So when I think about the chivalry you're talking about in this creating a recruiting experience, my first instinct goes, how do you keep it up? Okay. Like you're dating your person. It's like marriage. You're all fired up. You think about them when they're not
Honeymoon
around.
phase, right? I'm opening a
Right?
door for you. I'm paying for dinner the first date. Right. So that is a good segue. So you, in our world and most of the businesses we, consult with, you have to go through 4 interviews and it's going to take weeks, where most businesses are like, Katie, you don't have to fill that out. Can you start today? Which then makes you a little like it's like me proposing to you on the first date. Like that would scare you a little bit that I'm that desperate and I have even, we haven't gotten past, what you do for a living, what I do for a living. And I'm like, Saturday look good for, nuptials. Right. So, we make it hard. We want to, make sure that you're not just, looking for the best deal, because on paper, we might not be the best deal. So going to your next thing, and I always say this, one of your interviews or their interviews in the salon, in any business, is we'll have you, but let's talk about the salon. We'll have you come in on Thursday night or Saturday afternoon for an observation day. And why? Because that's the worst we could look is Thursday night or Saturday afternoon. If I said, Katie, and pretend you have no, real background, that you're just graduating from beauty school or whatever, and other than maybe being a customer at some salons, I say, Katie, all right, I want you to come in for an observation day on Monday at 2. That would be so unfair, right? Monday at 2, there's like 6 people in the salon. It's humming. Everything's clean. Everyone's smiling. It's peaceful. That's not a typical, Now you come, and so I say that's a first date versus Thursday night at 6:30 p.m. is like a 50th date. How do we look when things are at our worst? When hot water ran out an hour ago, when we're running 15 minutes late, when we are, packed, when a guest checks in at 6 o'clock for her standing appointment that she has every Thursday at 6 o'clock, but for some reason we don't have her down in the computer. We want, that potential candidate to see that side of running around. We want them to, say, I don't walk out of there after however long they want to stay, 15 minutes, 2 hours, and say, I don't like how they talk to that assistant, which is what I'm applying for. The hairdressers, right? The hairdressers, snapped at her, treated her like this, whatever. Or it was organized chaos. I liked how the one hairdresser who was leaving had her jacket on, had her purse on her shoulder, but then noticed that one of her coworkers was in over her head with a color. And she hung up her jacket, she hung up her purse, and came and helped her, right? And I always say, again, let's go to you, Katie. Katie, and I don't do the interviews anymore, but we always say, Katie, I want you to come in. The observation day is for you to interview us. It's for you to see what we're like. And no matter where you go, you ask for an observation day. And if they're not willing to give you one, again, to me, that's the 50th date. What am I like on the 50th date is who I'm really like, not Monday at 2, not the first date when I'm trying to impress you. So.
Oh, such a good point. Now, you want to scare away the wrong people.
Yeah.
I think sometimes owners, like you said, we move too fast and then we almost have buyer remorse on these hires. How do we overcome that? And not be fearful that, if we don't hurry up, we're going to miss out, on hiring this person. They're going to go elsewhere.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're always recruiting. One of the things is like when we don't need anybody, we're recruiting. And if we find a rock star, we're hiring them. Right. I mean, because it may be a while before we find that. And so you always have to have a pipeline. So you're not, you're not compromising. The 2 biggest mistakes every business made coming out of the pandemic is, and I'm guilty of it too, was we'd hire just anyone to replace. So, I hired Sally. Oh, Sally, good. She's not ideal, but of the 5 that interviewed, she was the best of the 5, right? That's bad. The second part is that we did wrong is that we're keeping poor performers, bad attitudes, negative Aunt Nancy's, toxic people, because I need 5 more people. If I get rid of Ginger, now I'm going to need 6. So let's, just say Ginger just needs, more coaching, even though we know she doesn't need more coaching. So, a couple things is one, when you compromise the sales, when you compromise the culture to capitalize on sales, you lose the sales in the long run because other people are going to quit because they can't stand working with toxic people. So it's really important that you remain relentless. I'd rather lose the sale than lose the reputation. Right. So you're trying to get in today. We're fully booked. I mean, if I just promoted this person, or if I just hired this person, I could take advantage of, the waiting list. Well, you come in and we suck. I'm never going to recover. You're never coming back, and you're going to do brand terrorism about us on Facebook, Yelp, and anyone that ever says, hey, have you ever tried that John Roberts spa? Yeah, I did. What a ripoff. So it's better to lose the sale than the reputation. There's a potential I'll get you to try us because you'll actually want to do business with us because you can't get in, but not if we turn you over to anyone. So yeah, it's about that. It's making it hard. We have a video that says before you fill out this application, watch this. And it starts with, honestly, we're not for everyone. And then it's supposed to kind of scare you into working here, and it scares a lot of people, and that's okay. But the right people are like, oh my God, I love this, that you're committed to the customer experience, that you're committed to each other, that you have nonstop training, right? And then there's obviously other things. And then there's things that we do in the interview process that we make it ungameable. So, as you know, Katie, if you interviewed me, I know that a typical interview, you're going to say, John, please tell me 2 drawbacks of yourself. And I'm going to pause and I'm going to think. And then I'm going to say, I'm a workaholic and I'm a perfectionist, right? Bam, I nailed that question. So the best companies do interviews that the candidate doesn't know what they're being judged on. So some examples. Our first interview with people, we used to, if we were trying to hire 6 front desk people or 6 assistants out of beauty school, hairdressers assistants, 25 years ago, we'd spend 6 individual hours one-on-one interviewing. I don't want to do that, right? Because 5 of them probably won't be right fit, and I don't want to waste that. So there's a couple things. I want to avoid the interview altogether by you doing some research and us telling you to watch this video, and that'll eliminate, the wrong fits there. It doesn't mean they're wrong. It doesn't mean we're wrong. We're just not right fit. But the second thing is what happens is we'll bring all 6 on the first interview together, and we'll go over the job, and we'll ask you questions like, tell us a time when you went above and beyond for a customer. Tell us a time, all these scenarios. Now, what the candidate thinks is we're judging who has the best answer, okay? We can care less about your answer. What we're viewing is what you're doing, Katie, when you're not talking. And so Bob next to you is answering, and you might be peeking at your Apple Watch. You might be, totally spaced out, or you might be focused on you're going next and how you're going to crush his answer with a better answer. Or you might be looking at Bob, smiling, nodding, and he says something funny and you laugh. That's what we're looking for. What are you doing? Yeah. So there's a lot of things like that we do in the interview process. We have questions that, again, we don't care about the answer. There's a question. The thing that we can't train you on is kindness, that you genuinely love people, right? Things like that. I could put you through 10,000 hours. And if you don't like people, and there's people out there that don't, and that's okay, but it's not okay for this type of job. The 10,000 hours wouldn't move the needle. So we'll ask questions like this. I like to measure enthusiasm. So one of our questions is, Katie, on your free time, when you're not working and the, weekends, evenings, vacations, what is your most favorite thing to do in the world? Katie, I don't care if it's fly fishing. I don't care if it's sitting in a room, a dark basement playing Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not looking for that. What I'm looking for is you get excited and enthusiastic when you talk about your most favorite thing. If you don't get excited and enthusiastic when you talk about running, doing yoga, whatever that is, you're not going to get excited and enthusiastic about anything. And I want excited, enthusiastic people working here. So there's a lot of ungameable ways to get around it, to find out if this is someone I want. Even it's a stupid thing of, this is my biggest pet peeve, is when you ask people, how are you today? And so many times they say, fine. Okay, so far so good. Fine sucks, right? I mean, I don't want to work with Fine. My clients don't want to be around Fine. Hairdressers don't charge a lot of money that are Fine. They don't get tipped too well that are Fine, and they don't retain a lot of clients that are Fine. You know, I want great, amazing. And sometimes maybe you have to be faking it. But on the grand scheme of things, right? Just look at the news and what's going on in the world, Ukraine, Israel, and all that, the Carolinas. I mean, there's a lot of bad shit going on. That you have an opportunity that you're sitting here interviewing at a great company and probably have other great interviews, that you have a potential to be hired, and all those things. Fine sucks. Fine's the F bomb of customer service. So, that's, I measure your positivity. And, it may be anal, but I don't want any drama. No drama. And Fine is drama. Oh, Katie, what do you mean fine? Oh, well, you wouldn't believe what happened at home, or my mother, or, this. And I'm not talking about sickness. I'm not talking about that stuff. We're there for you for that. But just save your drama for your mama.
I love how you're bringing all these little, like, here's what you're actually looking for with
Yeah.
these questions, with this approach. I think that's key insight for everybody listening today. Imagine now we have this rock star sitting in front of us. You said that you kind of take your time in hiring the right people. How quickly should you move forward with somebody that you're like, I don't want them to go on another interview?
Yeah, so we're going to tell manage expectations from the beginning and say, Katie, this is going to go through a minimum of 4 interviews. And I don't do them and haven't done them in a while, so I don't know if how long that takes, but I'm sure it's not less than 2 weeks. Because we say, Katie, are you interviewing other places? And typically they'll say no, even if they are. And we say, we think you should. Katie, you got to make sure that John Roberts is right fit for you. And go look out there, and make sure you get an observation day and see that, and and here's the things, I think you should be looking for. Do they have health insurance? Do they have 401k? Do they train you? Do they invest in you? And obviously we check the boxes on all those things, but it makes them want the job more. Because like I said, everyone else is saying, Katie, you don't have to fill out your name on that application. Can you start today? And we're saying, Katie, you should explore other job opportunities. And you're like, what? Right? And I always go back to dating, right? You're like, all right, this guy's kind of a nerd. He's a nice guy, but he's probably not someone I could see myself getting serious with. And he's like, I think we should date other people. And you're like, what? I'm such a catch for you, and you're telling me, and all of a sudden he becomes more attractive, right? He's a nerd with swag all of a sudden, right? Because he's not desperate for, this 10, and he might be a 7 at best.
Oh man, it's kind of the law of the chase. Like if you
Yeah.
get chased after, you're automatically going to be like, stay away. But
Yeah.
if somebody's not, indeed, yeah, that's
Yeah.
brilliant. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
What other missing, like blinding flashes of the obvious do most owners miss in the recruiting process when it comes to actually creating an experience for their candidates?
So I think the experience and the recruiting should start before they ever hire. Like I said, they should go on our website, and most people's website, and look at all your competitors and look at yours, and they all sound the same. Oh, we're hiring for, and we great opportunities, great this, great this, great this, blah 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 blah. The best, are more black and white. They turn you on or turn you off. And we start with, hey, honestly, we're not for everyone. Here's why. You're going to train harder. The interview process is going to be harder than anything you've gone through. No one else is going to put you through 4 interviews. But we also tell you that for every 22 people that apply, only 1 get hired. That's for you, right? Because in a 6 months from now, in a year from now, there's an adage that everyone will finish this sentence mentally. Employees don't quit companies, they quit leaders. I disagree. Employees don't quit companies, they quit people. And it goes back to, Katie, if you're a rock star, but we start compromising on who we're hiring and who we keep around, right? And you start working with B and C minus people, toxic people, you're going to get the hell out of there. You don't want to be there. And so the fact that you have to go through 4 interviews actually makes you feel good and confident that we're not just going to hire crap behind you and all of a sudden you're going to wake up and say, who the hell are all these people? You know, they're the standards have gone down. And have you ever heard the quote, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with?
Yep.
Love that quote. I've said it nauseum to my 3 boys and my employees at orientation. Totally believe it. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. So obviously, if one of my sons is hanging around undesirables, who do I blame? Him. Choose, your circle of friends better. But here was my leadership epiphany that I literally lost sleep at night over. Our employees don't get to choose their 5. Right? If you work for me, you don't choose the 5 people that I surround you with. And so if I'm hiring just anyone, keeping just anyone, and they're toxic people, you're going to do one of 2 things. You're going to get the hell out of here, which is the best for you, or you're going to give me the benefit of doubt and say, whatever, it's, it must be just temporary. But you'll eventually gravitate to the 5. And then I'm bitching about what the hell happened to Katie? She used to be a rock star and now she's a bad attitude. Well, no shit. And so, we are responsible for our employees' 5. And so part of that is let the employees, not just leaders, let the employees have some say. So during our observation day, we're going to say, hey, Katie, you're going to be shadowing Sandy and this and go in the back and blah, blah, blah. Ask them anything you want. They did. And then we ask our team members, not just leaders, hey, what'd you think of that Katie? And some people will say, she after 5 minutes, she looked at her watch and she said, can I go now? And we're like, sure, you can go, right? We don't tell how long to go. Or she said, how many days off do you get? Or how soon do you get vacation? Or we loved her. Why? Because she was standing in the back as we were folding foil or towels and she started helping us. And we're like, no, you don't have to. And she couldn't just watch. She was just someone that had to be busy. And she asked really good questions. And then we have them be part of the hiring process. And what does that do? Well, they're ambassadors of their culture. But also when Katie starts next week or next month, you have cool friends on the team. They know that they were responsible for you getting the job, and you don't feel like that awkward freshman coming in and don't have a place to sit. And especially in a primarily female industry, you got 12 eyeballs staring at you. Who the hell is this chick? Did she get lost? And now it's like, hey, Katie, I want everyone to meet Katie. Katie's our newest co-designer. And like, I feel good because I know I was a reason why you got hired. So it's just skin in the game for your team members.
I'm going to throw something on you because I think you're spot on with all of this. Here's something we need to keep our eye on. Imagine the rock star you hire, and 3 years from now, they start dating somebody, and that somebody has got the biggest ego in the world, and it's starting to change that rock star person's mentality. Now, the rest of your team is genuine culture keepers, love you, but one of your dysfunctions is avoiding conflict. So we struggle to call out those A players who are all of a sudden are acting real different, but they can become that toxic presence
100%.
and carry people with you. How do you handle that at what point? Because then you are the owner. You're like, dang, this person's doing 150,000 in sales. Like, I don't know. Like, how do you personally coach your team to approach those types of situations?
You brought up something that I've never heard anybody bring up, and I talk about, but it was really good. I say sometimes our biggest competition out there is their spouse, right? Because their spouse is talking to people and friends and saying, oh my God, my girlfriend makes, $3 million and higher commission. And then he comes and he starts speaking in her ear. And then we have that. And it's understandable, right? In all professions. And so, always be transparent. We try to, invite spouses to our events so they see that's not, what she does and what, the company does, but that's not always going to cure it. But yeah, again, this goes back to whenever you compromise your sales to compromise culture for sales, you lose sales in the long run. So we've done it wrong in the past where she's a rock star financially, rainmaker. She brings in so much money. We don't want to lose her, but we're losing three other people over the course of the year that can't stand working with her anymore. And she's influencing them because she's a big influencer. So yeah, we address it early and often, and then sometimes say, maybe we're not a right fit anymore, and we wish you the best of luck. It's the last thing we want, but if we don't, we'll maybe save her $150,000 for a little while longer, but we'll lose 200,000 with everyone else that ends up leaving because we're being hypocrites.
Yep. Yeah, so good.
Something else I want to mention. I love that you brought up the buyer's remorse. There's also buyer's remorse that employees have. That when I was writing my book, The Employee Experience Revolution. So the next stage, we're talking about the recruitment experience.
Yep.
The next chapter is the onboarding experience, which I love and get really excited. We won't go into that, but here's where, man, my onboarding experience it has always been. I went to Disney, studied at Disney, and so our first 2 days of orientation is amazing. Sometimes too good. And what I mean by too good is we get you so pumped up and you go home and say, honey, you wouldn't believe, I met 3 people that started off in my position as a hairdresser's assistant and today have equity in the company and are this. I didn't know that could be me in 8 years, 10 years. And you get all excited, right? And sometimes reality doesn't match with the onboarding. So our onboarding is really good. We had to improve the ongoing. But here's what I missed when I was doing research of the book. We would do what I think a lot of businesses would do is say, all right, Katie, it's October 4th. You're hired. You want the job? Yes, great. Congratulations. Okay. On October 16th, go to the Salon location and ask for Denise. And you're going to start there and she's going to put you through the training, your first day, yada, yada, yada. Okay. And then we'd ghost you from October 4th to October 16th. And that's where the buyer's remorse comes in on your end because you're getting the other offers of the jobs you were interviewing. And you start thinking, oh, maybe I should, I don't know. And then maybe someone says, oh, you're going to go work there. I heard that place is like a military, or I heard that place is this, or I hear this. And so, the onboarding starts the day you're hired and touching base. Send you a video from John, the owner who you've never met, saying, Katie, congratulations. Welcome to the John Roberts family. I hear you are going to have a big impact. And all these little touches from the people. So there's less of a buyer's remorse because something that's big today is people that get hired, a strong percentage never show up for their first day of work.
Interesting.
So sorry, I thought that was something that we sucked at.
The onboarding and the ongoing. And speaking of ongoing, recruiting experience doesn't just end there. There's the employee experience, and then that translates into the customer experience. So you have a couple opportunities coming up. One's around the corner and one's in November. Tell us about your web events that, for everybody listening, we will include the link for you to get in on this in our show notes. But John, tell us these web events you have coming up for our.
We have 2 live stream workshops, one price, and they're on Mondays, October 28th from noon to 3 p.m. Eastern time, and on November 4th, the following Monday, noon to 3 p.m. Eastern time. And the first one, October 28th, is creating your signature customer experience. And every great brand, Nordstrom, Tesla, Lululemon, all these great brands have a signature experience that you get when you deal with them. And that's what we want you to create. So we're going to journey map in the touch point when someone calls, what should happen, right? This helps us remove employee roulette. Right? And employee roulette is when I get Katie, oh, it's great. But if Katie's off and I get someone else, oh, good luck. right? So that's what's creating a signature customer experience, guest experience, is this should happen every time, no matter what, at each touch point. And this is interactive. This is not a lecture. You get up to 5 people you could bring, and you're going to be in, breakouts with them, and you're going to work. And me and Dave, my vice president of consulting, are going to drop in on your breakouts and ask you how you're doing, and coach you there. And then the following Monday, November 4th, is creating your employee a signature experience, and that's talking about the recruiting, the onboarding, the ongoing retaining them, all those. So what is that? What's your employee signature experience? So it's $249 for both events, both workshops, and you get to bring up to 5 people.
I love that you get to bring people. I love that it's one price, $249, and you get 2 classes. It's brilliant. And for everybody listening, you get to go sign up. That link is in our show notes, along with the link to check out John's website, get his books in advance. These are great books to do as book clubs with your leadership team. I just love everything that you are about. John, before
Thank
we're
you.
done, if you were going to give owners listening some final words of wisdom today, specifically on recruiting experience, what's the one takeaway you'd want them to have?
Love that. I think it's as leaders, it's our job to help people live extraordinary lives, and we need to help them find meaning and purpose that allows them to do that. And if I could take it one step further, I don't believe we have uh, personal and professional lives. I mean, we just don't. We have one life, and too many people are unhappy with their professional life, which is going to impact their life, right? You just don't turn it off at 5 o'clock and go home. If you're miserable, if you dread Mondays, right, and only look forward to Fridays, that's not a great life that you want Monday through Friday to go fast. My first job, I worked at UPS, out of college, and every day I would drive to work and say, in 29 more years, in 3 days, I could retire, right? And how horrible was that I wanted to get old fast? And so I think it's our job as leaders to help people live fulfilling lives. And that starts with making it at work, and giving them meaning and purpose, and making them feel good about their job. And that includes pay, includes opportunities, doesn't have to be a temporary transitional job. Again, there's 2 things I like to story tell is, again, Katie, you're applying for this job. I have 5 people that literally have equity. They're partners in my companies that started in your position 25. This could be you if you want it to. But the other story I also like to tell is, someone we help move on to a different industry. So we'll ask someone, "Hey, Katie, what's your 5-year goal?" And if they feel comfortable enough, and hopefully they do, they'll tell us that, it's to be in, media. It's to be something totally different than what we're doing. All right, let us help you get there. Right. I have some contacts. I think, this is going to be good for you because of the skills you're learning, the customer service you're learning, the things you're learning. But, I think this is going to really help your resume. But, when you're ready, let me know, and I can make some introductions I think can help you. And I'll certainly write you a great letter of reference. Those are stories I want to go viral too. It's not just what are what are you going to bring me, and how much money can you make me over 20 or 30 years. I'll tell you, those people that we've helped move to the careers they really wanted to have sent us more clients and more employees than anyone. So it's got to be, not with a hidden agenda of making people's lives better, and it comes back tenfold.
Amazing. Well, congratulations on
Thanks,
your
Katie.
success, on building a multi-location brand, on all of these amazing resources. Like our industry, we appreciate you. We love
Thank
learning from you. It's solid. And yeah, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be with me today.
My pleasure.
And thank you all for joining us here week after week. If you appreciate this platform, we would love it if you could take a moment to leave us a positive review so that more people like yourself will discover Beyond the Technique, where we're here to change the way that you are supported in your business. Until next time, have an awesome day and stay strong.